And here we are in Ganon's Tower. So the object of this is to navigate different little mini dungeons. Starting from left to right is how we're gonna do this. This is like, to me, the worst one, and that's from the standpoint of I've actually never done this the air quote correct way. I legitimately don't know how you intended to do this. Because they give you all the little pots and all the little fire geysers, so there's a part of me that thinks the intention might be to like create a path for yourself through the lava and then ride it up to the top. But I always just do this instead. You land on this little platform, and then climb up here and then glide the rest of the way. And again, I don't think this is what they intended for you to do, but I always do this anyway, just because it's pretty straightforward, actually. I'd be like, hey, I wonder how speedrunners do this, but they don't. They clip out of bounds behind the door, so they don't do any of these refights. I guess if you're still trying to get Nintendo Gallery stuff and need the different photos of the bosses, at least these 4, this is your not your last chance, because you actually can refight these guys as many times as you want, which is pretty dang nifty. So that means the only missable bosses are Helmer Rock King and Phantom Ganon. I'm pretty sure. That might be wrong, actually. But if I'm not mistaken. Also, I'm gonna look away because looking at the all the lava particle effects is really lagging the game pretty bad. So I'm gonna mitigate this as much as I can by looking away from Goma. I sometimes stumble when trying to remember this is Goma because it's some big scorpion monster, and I think of Goma as like more spidery in most games, but I guess scorpions and spiders are both arachnids, so it counts. Yeah, this boss in particular lags a lot more on Wii U than on GameCube, just because of GameCube version having better optimization. It's not a hardware problem, it's just a matter of how much time went into it, I'm guessing. The HD port was done in like 6 months, so I actually would like to see another HD port. A port of the port with slightly better, yeah, with some like fixes. I accidentally messed up the one cycle because I didn't jump slash. Maybe you can't one cycle. I swear you could run one cycle, but I guess not. Oh, I just messed it up. One thing I'll actually never understand about this puzzle is the fact that every time you leave one of those refights, it actually resets all of your equipment. Like, it clears out everything from your item slots, and I'm legitimately not sure why they do that, but that's also on GameCube. I find it really bizarre, because I think this is like the only time in the series where like they actually do reset your inventory at set parts. And again, there's no real explanation as far as I'm aware. Yeah, also I'm really not sure about how easy it would be on GameCube to actually get through all of this. You might have to actually duck out after opening up Ganon's Tower and then do this. And then like go get the forest water and then just do this part by itself, because I feel like between all the cutscenes and fighting the mighty dark nuts and everything, it would probably take about 20 minutes, maybe less. Also, I guess it depends on if you do this one first, which in my case I did it second, but I guess if you were wanting to do the forest water thing, you'd actually do this one sooner. My big problem with this is just aiming, and actually hitting all the little vines can be a little complicated, so I'm really glad that this version added like being able to move while aiming, which I don't think is on GameCube, because that does make this fight a little bit easier. A little easier to dodge. Must have missed one because it's not fallen. I see it. There we go. I tried doing a fast thing where I tried drawing out the sword, but it caused the boomerang to retract too soon. So yeah, you just pour forest water on the central part, and then that'd be a one-shot, but like, it's really easy to one-shot anyway, so I figured it really isn't worth it. Other than to show off the Easter egg. This is honestly the most tricky one in some ways. Well, partly just dodging all the coffins tends to not go well for me personally. But also, you basically have to have one of the little purple chews and then put it on a switch to lower the stairs, and then you go through and do it again, except the switch is in a different place. Where is it? I actually don't remember, but basically in the second stair section, you have an additional problem of you get a cutscene with a Stalfos spawning in, and it's like between the cutscene and when the chew actually turns back to normal, it's just barely the same amount of time basically, so I usually try to do everything in one go, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Also, that one chew is stuck in the coffin. Like, this one is stuck, so I'm actually having to bait it out a little bit. So that's the one I use, because it's the closest one. Yeah, as we run to the end, a Stalfos cutscene. I didn't actually mean to jump on the switch, so this is probably a restart anyway, because they give you very little time to do this. So yeah, you have to watch this cutscene. So yeah, we didn't have enough time because I messed it up. Oddly enough, I never actually like fight the Stalfos even. It's not necessary one bit. Wrong one. I was trying to roll and I accidentally picked it up. So now that the Stalfos is there and the cutscene won't interrupt it, it's actually really easy to run through. It's just getting that really fast cycle is not easy. Okie dokie, so, Valhalla. It's the same fight, there's no real special tricks to it. One really weird thing is apparently this boss is super weak to light arrows. Which is interesting because you're not supposed to have light arrows going into this fight, but like if you do like speedrun strats, you can actually fight him with light arrows and it goes a lot faster. I'm pretty sure it's also on a set cycle as well, so like you can't just one-shot this boss, you have to actually play through the phases legit. Because you can only take out like thirds every cycle. They'll like cap you otherwise. Like there, I had plenty of time left, but just there's a cap to it. So I'm guessing 2 more cycles based on how many ghosts are left. Also my favorite thing is when the spotlights disappear like that. Because then you have to like quickly dash over to the other one before this one disappears. Alright, so just gonna chuck them at the wall. This part always messes with me because I almost always run out of stamina right before hitting the last ghost. Luckily, we actually did hit the last ghost this time, so I didn't have to waste like 30 seconds just unstaggering and then rushing over to him. And one more, which is over here. One of my favorite weird little details is you can actually like cut the ropes of bridges. I don't know why, but that's always just something that's fascinated me about this game, just from a physics standpoint. Also, it's kind of odd to think that this is one of the only fights, Valhalla is one of the only fights where you don't need any equipables at all. Because you have the mirror shield and power bracelets, and those are equipped by default. If you go in the middle, you don't get shot down to the canyon, luckily. Oh yeah, I forgot there were goblins there, so I got attacked while trying to just make it past. And faster than the Wizgrub tried to take a shot even. Alright, last one. I don't think I talked about this last time, but they did remix all the music, and this is one of the most polarizing remixes. Most people think this remix isn't as... I mean, this is also kind of a distorted version because it's a memory fight, but I mean the original Mulgara fight for Wind Waker. People generally think the HD soundtrack is actually technically worse. I'm pretty sure this version's just kind of messed up anyway because it's, yeah, it's like not the, all the music is kind of distorted. I don't know why that didn't hit actually. Weird hitbox. I'm gonna manual target this because there's so many enemies around. It's creating problems. Okay, manual targeting is not helping. Yeah, the little mini ones tend to be very problematic. It's probably gonna reset the cycle here, at this rate. There we go, finally. Normally, it doesn't give me that much trouble. It normally gives me some trouble, but not that much. Especially considering there's only like 2 right now. It's like when you get to be like a couple... 4 or 5 at once, it's way worse, but normally just 2 don't give me that much trouble with the lock-on. I think you can hit them without the hook shot if you manage to hit them as they're jumping up from the air, but it's a lot more precise. There we go, one more cycle. It's always 4. I don't think there's a way to do this fight any faster, to my knowledge. So yeah, while he's in the air, I usually try to aim for the little small guys, because... like that was the case of hitting one as it was going back into the ground, and therefore finishing it off before it could create a problem by going back on the ground. This is gonna be awkward, there's like 3 of them. And they're all kind of hitting the middle, just as I need to aim at the middle. So I'm gonna actually circle so the target hopefully will be better. The target's the nearest thing. It's hard to make the tongue the nearest object to you. Yeah, so manual targeting worked better just because the little mini Mulgaras were being especially bad. And there you have it. Our path is now opened up, but I think because I did start so early, I think I will take a small break. So I will be back momentarily. Alright, so we are back and ready to take on Ganon. So the next part is a series of 2 small puzzles that, one of which can be extremely broken because it's actually a fixed pattern every time. So we have this hallway of mini blends, which is rather ominous. I actually like the aesthetics, but I think it's kind of short. Like, maybe having a little bit more hallway would be a little bit more ominous. It makes it feel kind of, small. Alright, so if we duck into this room over here, we should get a, solution to a puzzle. They actually make you listen to the King of Red Lions here, which I find kind of odd. Link, you must remember well the appearance of this room. The shape of the floor, the number of items hanging on the walls. Such things are the keys to solving the riddles that lie ahead. Do not overlook anything. Alright, so when we go to the opposite room, we got 3 switches, and the pattern is 3, 1, 4, 2, I think. I actually almost forgot in the amount of time it took. I see, so this is the portal through which Ganon was able to seep into the unsuspecting world above. Link, we shall make use of this path that Ganon created for himself. If there's anything from the world above that you believe you need, then climb into the boat and enter the column of darkness. So this will put you at Forsaken Fortress, and it's a warp back to the main world. I don't think you can actually use the warp at Hyrule Castle anymore. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure this is the only way in and out of Hyrule. But our next step is to jump down this pit. So this part is another Phantom Ganon fight, but there's a little bit of a secret in the fact that it's the same directions every time, so we can actually just kind of break this puzzle if you actually know the combination. So it's the door behind you, then the door to the left, then up, left, right, up. So from here I think we need to go right, and then up. And if I mess it up, then this is awkward. It's playing all the little chimes, so I'm assuming we're heading the right way. And now we have to actually fight Phantom Ganon. This is why I don't feel bad about skipping it, because we have to fight him anyway at the end. It just skips like a few variations. So for this one, he goes down in I think 1 hit, and the sword hilt will point in the direction you need to go. In this case it's trivial because there's only 2 doors, but for the other rooms it'll point in one of the 4 directions that you need to go. So yeah, we just kinda broke this really badly. You got the light arrow. When you take out your bow, use the R to change the arrowheads, and then fire away. The sacred light of these arrows can pierce pure evil itself.